What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F1 22 My Team career mode. This time we're going to be at the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's back on the calendar after taking a year out, and yeah, I'm pretty excited to see what we can do here. On the face of things, I've not been particularly fast here in previous years. You know, obviously we had the DNF in Season 1, and then Season 2, I think I managed to scrape a few points here, but I can't quite remember what happened, to be honest. It's been a while. It's been a couple months since I last drove there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see what we can do on this occasion. I'm not overly optimistic about our chances. This has never been a particularly strong track of mine in career modes. But you know, it's one of those tracks where it's like it can always throw up a bit of a surprise. I feel like people always think of Hungary as a bit of a boring track, but I honestly think of some of the most memorable races in history, maybe not for it being a good track, but just for the simple fact that it feels like things always happen. Immediately I get off to a good start, I accidentally go into quick practice instead of real practice, so I end up skipping an entire practice session because I back out of this because I wanted to do at least one real practice session, and I end up doing it in practice 2 instead of practice 1, which is a bit annoying, but it is what it is. But yeah, when I think back to Hungarian Grand Prix of yore, I think, you know, Jenson Button's first win, that very memorable strategic battle between Red Bull and Mercedes when Lewis Hamilton pit with, like, I can't remember how many laps it was to go, but then ended up overtaking Max Verstappen towards the very end of the race. And I also think of Esteban Ocon grabbing his first win. And even last year's Hungarian Grand Prix wasn't too bad, although that was mostly just due to Max Verstappen having a poor qualifying. It meant that he was able to cut his way through the field, make some overtakes, and yeah, it was pretty exciting. So I always feel like something usually happens at the Hungarian Grand Prix, and on this case, I'm hoping it's going to be that we can get a good result, and a better result than I'm projecting we will. I'm aiming for top 5. I think if I can do that, we won't take too much damage from the Ferraris. I think I won't be able to challenge Leclerc around here because, you know, I need to be on the top of my game to be able to challenge Leclerc in these Grand Prix. So yeah, I think there's only going to be a finite number of races this season where we're going to be able to challenge him. Fortunately, I think quite a few of those are coming up, which bodes quite well for us. But we'll have to wait and see. We come on our first flying lap now, and it's a 1:15.3. That's on a fresh set of softs. I think we need to improve here, to be honest, if we're gonna make it through to Q2. So I'm gonna go out on another fresh set of softs and see if we can improve a bit. Fortunately, we do. We're up by about 4 or 5 tenths as we come through the final corner, and yeah, we cross the line. We improve by 4.5 tenths, and it's going to be good enough for a 1:14.8. So yeah, that should see us through quite comfortably, I would hope. But there is still a little bit of qualifying left, so I think some drivers will still improve. And indeed, at the end, it's only good enough for P9, but Porsche gets P1, so I'm pretty happy with that. No shock exits so far, and we can move on to Q2. This is going to be where things get a little bit more tricky. If I was only qualifying P9 in that session, there's a very good chance that I might not be doing well enough to get through to Q3, so we're going to have to try and push even further. We go out on a used set of softs rather to start with, and we're going to see what kind of time we can do. It's a 1:15.6. I think we're going to need to see some serious improvement over that if we want to make it into Q3. And we're up by 7 tenths. I think this should be fine, although we do go a little bit wide on the exit of I don't know what corner number that is, but the final corner. We improved by 7.5 tenths. It's good enough to initially put us P5. That's going to be our final run of the session. We're only 1 tenth off Russell, so I think maybe we'll be okay. But we cross the line and we find out, yeah, it's not good enough actually. We're about a tenth off where we needed to be to get through. So yeah, we're out in Q2, P12. Very unfortunate, but hopefully we can make our way up the order as we move through into the race. You know, there's not a massive potential for overtaking here, but there is at least one very common spot for overtaking, and since our car is quite fast in a straight line, I do feel like we will have the opportunity to do exactly that, but it's not going to be easy. We've been out qualified by Max Verstappen, so he works his way back into this rivalry a little bit. But you know, hopefully maybe we can get ahead of him in the race or something like that, and continue extending this gap further. I hope that Porsche did a good qualifying in the end in Q3. Maybe starting top 3 or something like that would be ideal. I know that he has the potential to do that. He seems to be particularly strong around these very corner-heavy circuits. The ones that I'm not particularly good at is where Porsche seems to shine. Places like Monaco, Imola, you know, my weakest tracks in memory. He seems to be doing particularly well at. So yeah, that's good to see. Canada was another one as well, actually. But now it's time for us to get into the race.
It's race day in Budapest as we get ready for another round of Formula One action. We're not expecting too many retirements at this circuit. There are plenty of current and former drivers with flawless finish rates here. In particular, Ralf Schumacher, who made it across the line in all 10 of his Hungarian Grand Prix starts. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and Théo Pourchaire completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Verstappen, Carlos Sainz, and Russell, Fernando Alonso, Zhou, Ocon, and Pierre Gasly, Robinson, Ricciardo, Christian Lundgaard and Tsunoda, Schwartzman, Albon, Sergio Perez and Oscar Piastri, Stroll, Mick Schumacher, Magnussen and Nicholas Latifi. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
Well, yeah, a bit weird from Crofty there. Seems to have no co-commentator on this occasion, but that's fine. We have one driver taking a penalty. I think it was one of the Red Bulls. So, yeah, we move up one place in the order, and that means that we're pretty much going to be in with a guaranteed shot of getting points here. Not only that, but also we're starting on the soft, whereas it seems like most of the cars in front are starting on the medium. So this could be a real opportunity for us to make up some positions as well by strategy. And yeah, Porsche good enough to get P2 in the end, so that's really encouraging to see, and hopefully we can get a strong performance as a team as we move through this race. As the lights come on and the lights go out, and it's a pretty good start from us. We're already challenging Gasly, and we're kind of ahead of him, but I think he might be looking to fight us back as we come on the run down to turn 1. One of the longest runs down to turn 1 on the F1 calendar, apart from in places like Spain, which obviously isn't on the calendar this year. We try and go around the outside of a few cars here, like Ocon and maybe Tsunoda as well. It's kind of hard to tell who's where. We're going to try and go up the inside of Ocon now. He squeezes us to the inside of the corner, but I think we're just about going to make it, and already we make a bit of contact there actually, but we're already up into P8. I do just check to make sure I don't have any damage, and indeed it looks like we have gotten away with that for now. And Alonso's going very slowly, so I wonder if he's got some kind of damage or something. It seemed like there were some front wings flying at turn 1, and we switch to the replay camera now, and we're going to try and maybe go around the outside of him into the chicane. This would be a very bold move if we pulled it off, but we actually make it work. I'm not sure if we went over the track there or not, but yeah, in any case, if we did, we're only one track limits warning away from a penalty already, so we need to be very careful. But yeah, already up into P7, and that is a fantastic start to the race. 4 positions on the first lap. So yeah, pretty good from us. And now we're going to try and catch up to this train of cars. That's Norris, Pourchaire, Leclerc, which is P1, 2, 3, and then yeah, there's a Red Bull, I think, of Verstappen, maybe, I'm not sure. And speaking of Verstappen, we're now riding on board with him. This is the angle they chose to give us, and it's him pulling over to the side of the track, which promotes us one more position up the order into P6. And as we come to the pit stop phase now, we're still in P6. If you're wondering why you didn't see anything else that happened over the course of the first stint, it's because there was nothing. It was very just, you know, I'm slowly falling off the back of the cars in front as my soft tyres wear out, and yeah, nothing really else to speak about. So I'm going to try and do an undercut now. I'm 6 seconds off the off the Mercedes of Russell and the the Ferrari of Sainz. Obviously, he never ended up at Red Bull. Yeah, we're going to try and see if we can use these medium tyres, which are going to have a lot more life in them, to hopefully catch up to those guys and maybe even overtake them. We're on lap 12, and we're going to try and overtake Magnussen. We're going to try and get ahead of these slower cars and see if we can get past them. I go up the inside of Magnussen in a very unorthodox position, but it will make it work. Very shades of an overtake I remember in Formula 3 that didn't go so well. I think I talked about that last time I made an overtake there as well. It was Leclerc on Crawford, if I'm not mistaken. But it was a while ago now. And now we're going to try and instantly combo that into a move on the Ferrari of Mick Schumacher. This is Magnussen's former teammate, you might remember. And we're going to try and go around the outside at turn 1. We had the DRS, but of course he did on his teammate Piastri as well. And yeah, we've made it up past those two drivers, and we've only got a couple more back markers to clear before we have a bit of space ahead of us to try and stretch our legs. Next car to overtake is going to be Oscar Piastri. He was our teammate for half a season. Of course, this was the first track that he raced for us in season 2 it was, and we got up the inside of him at the same position we overtook Magnussen on the previous race. These cars are just not as fast as us, they're on weaker tyres, and the cars themselves are not as fast as ours. So yeah, we find ourselves in a good position right now. If we can get ahead of Albon here in the DRS zone, we'll be laughing. We need to make up 5/10 here, so we're going to have to burn a lot of battery. We're going to be using the DRS, and we're going to have to decide where we're going to go. We're going to try and tuck in behind him and then pull out at the last minute. That's very close to going into the back of him there. But yeah, we don't outbrake ourselves, and we do manage to gain the position. We get some DRS as well to stretch the advantage further, and now it's 10 seconds up the road to the nearest car of Robert Schwartzman. So yeah, we move through the race now, and we're up into P11. Oh, actually, we're still in P11, I should say, as we move on to lap 17. And we've closed the gap to Schwartzman significantly over the last 3 or 4 laps by about 6 seconds or so. We're gaining by 1 or 2 seconds every lap. That's going to be really good for us. That means we're probably gaining on the Ferrari and the Red Bull. And still, nope, it's still a Mercedes. It's Ferrari and Mercedes. Eventually, I'll stop saying that there's a Red Bull in front of us when there's not. But yeah, Ferrari and Mercedes of Sainz and Russell respectively. We're going to see now if we can come out and see where they are. Russell has come out of the pits and he's ahead of us, and here comes Sainz out of the pits. We're going to see if we can size up a move on him, and we're going to try and go around the outside. We thought about even potentially trying to go around the outside of Russell there, but he was just a bit too fast. Sainz is on these cold hard tyres, so we're going to try and go up the inside. We're going to have superior grip here on our slightly worn but not super worn fresh medium tyres. And yeah, we managed to get ahead of him with no real issues. And now as we move to the end of lap 19, start of lap 20, we're going to see if we can do a similar move on George Russell. We're going to try and go up the inside of him here as we go through the DRS zone. I think he might try and challenge us back actually, but no, he can't quite do it. And we've made our way up into P4 in this Grand Prix, and this is a fantastic recovery drive. And now we're going to see if we can set our sights on the likes of Porsche and Leclerc in front. However, after we made those moves, our tyres kind of started to go off a little bit. Their tyres started to come into their operative window. So really, we're just kind of in a position where the cars have a very similar sort of pace on the hards and on the mediums. And I imagine that over the next 10 laps, they'll probably start pulling away a little bit. So the driver I think I need to focus my attention on is going to be George Russell, who could still close us down and steal P4 off us in this race. Ideally, I don't want that to happen. Right now, we're dropping 6 points to Leclerc, which would be fine. And we actually have the fastest lap as well, so it would only be 5 if I'm not mistaken. And that would mean that we're only, I think, about 29 points behind him in the championship, which is still a recoverable gap with 9 races to go after this race. It will be. You can see that Leclerc is pulling ahead of Porsche. I'm kind of maintaining distance to Porsche, but I'm still not catching him. I am maintaining the gap to Russell behind as well. So I think that the logical conclusion that we can draw from this is that we probably will be finishing in this sort of position, P4, unless something bizarre happens on the final lap. We get some DRS from Latifi, which is going to allow us to push a little bit harder on this final lap, but these medium tyres are pretty much shot to pieces at this point. I don't think we're going to have any chance of setting any new fastest lap, not that it matters because we already have the fastest lap. Unless someone takes it off us on the final lap, we will be in with an extra point in this race. That will give us 13 points if I'm not mistaken, and 18 for Leclerc. Yeah, it means we only lose 5 points to him it could be a lot worse. I mean, ideally he wouldn't have overtaken Pourchaire, and we would be only losing, what would it be, 2 points to him. That would be fantastic damage limitation after qualifying 12th. But I'll take only losing 5 points. You know, we can gain more than that on him if we win in Belgium, which is of course where Leclerc got his first win. And I'm aiming to get my first win at Belgium in the next race, because that is a track that I'm quite keen to win at. You know, we've had a bunch of strong performances there, a couple of them cut short by unexpected DNFs, and then the most recent one, obviously, I think we got P4 in that one, or maybe P5 after a good recovery drive in the rain. And yeah, we come up to the line and it is good enough for P4. So yeah, not a bad race by any stretch of the imagination, but I mean, I'm pretty elated with that after how the qualifying went. To be able to recover from P11 on the start of race day to P4, we get driver of the day, unsurprisingly, and yeah, it was a strong performance.
What a victory it is after an incredible Grand Prix. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I feel consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
Our winning drivers are on their way to the podium right now. It's been a fantastic race for McLaren, that's for sure. And no doubt, they'll be celebrating tonight.
I feel like there's some driver models they got very right in this game and some they got very wrong in this game, and Norris is an example of one that they did get right. I feel like his driver model looks a lot like him. But yeah, the defending world champion wins a race in this season. He's not doing too badly, but I definitely don't think he's on for the world championship or anything like that this season. And yeah, it's just going to be a consolation prize, this victory, I think.
Charles Leclerc, currently leading the championship standings, extends his lead even further with this result. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Natalie Pinkham, come on, who do you pick?
I have to give it to Robinson. They fought so hard and had incredible pace at times, so I don't think anyone did a better job today.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. No change in the top spot then, but with today's points, their hold on that lead is getting weaker. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
So it's a 27-point gap between myself and Leclerc at the moment. And yeah, I mean, we're just outside of range if we win a race and he gets a DNF, that we'll be right back in this championship in the lead. But yeah, this is definitely recoverable at the moment, I think, for us. All we need to do is just continue putting in strong performances, try not to have too many weak races. You know, hopefully Zandvoort will not punish us too hard. But at the moment, unless one of us has a really strong ending to the season and massively, comprehensively outperforms one another, I could see this championship going down to the wire, honestly. I could see us racing for this in Abu Dhabi. And that would be very exciting, because I don't think I've ever had one of those where I've been involved in the championship fight. Usually it's been all wrapped up with no more races to go. I think the closest I ever had was one season. I had Pierre Gasly as my teammate, and we were battling for it all season long. And eventually, I wrapped it up in Brazil. But yeah, that was still not the final race of the season. I've never had a championship go down to Abu Dhabi. Could this be the one? I guess we'll wait and see. You know, 9 more races to go. Belgium up next, one of my personal favourite tracks. Then you got Zandvoort, Monza. No Singapore this time, so we'll be going straight from Monza to Japan, I believe it will be, and then you've got Mexico and the USA. I think actually USA comes first, doesn't it? Maybe Portugal, then Brazil, and then Abu Dhabi. Am I forgetting one? I can't remember. Maybe it's only 8 races remaining then. I was sure it was 9 though. This is race number 13. So yeah, I'm bad at maths clearly, but I'm trying to remember. You got Belgium, Zandvoort, Monza, that's 3. And then Japan, USA, Mexico, that's 3. Portugal, Brazil, Abu Dhabi, that's 3. Okay, yeah, we're good. Okay, yeah, 9 more races. Absolutely fine. And of those remaining tracks, I think that I should be able to put in a strong performance at basically all of them. I don't think Japan is going to go too well for me. It never usually does. Zandvoort's a bit of an anomaly, and apart from that, you know, I could definitely see myself putting in a strong performance at all of the other ones. So yeah, I'm pretty optimistic about our chances in this championship. As long as we can give a good account of ourselves in the races that we don't win, you know, like our Japans and things like that. Having Singapore not on the calendar is really good for us this season, actually, because I don't typically do very well there. We're not too far away from being able to put this personnel upgrade on the car, or on the facilities I should say, which is going to mean that Porsche is going to be rapid, and he could very easily help us win this Constructors' Championship, but hopefully he's not too rapid, because I still need to win the drivers. So yeah, you got that to look forward to, but that's going to be coming up soon. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.